So
I like your
how
shirt, by the way.
thank you. I'm a big
It's
fan
a
of
great
this
one.
one. I actually got this during Trinity of Terror last year.
Sure, yeah, I recognize it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went to all three legs of the tour. I was a big fan of the lineup.
Good, glad to hear it. Me
Yeah.
too.
It was actually one of the questions I had. If you could redo that tour with any three bands other than Ice Nine Kills and Motionless in White, which ones would you pick and why?
I'm not sure that you could, I think that part of what made that tour so great is that each band had similarities but represented such different things musically and in terms of fan bases and stuff. I think it wouldn't be the same without the bands that were on it. And it's one of those things where um, I think there's been a lot of people who have tried to do tours like that in the last year, to replicate it. Um, and for whatever reason, we were just really fortunate that it was such a huge success, and people really supported it and made it such a big deal for to go on three legs. I mean, we played damn near every city in the United States on that tour, so it was yeah. It's a little bit of a cop out answer, but I wouldn't replace anybody.
Yeah, because you guys were on tour for pretty much all of 2022 with the Trinity of Terror, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
started we started in March and it ended at Christmas. So,
Wow.
that's a long run.
That's insane. Did you take breaks between each of the legs or was just like keep going?
Yeah, there were, a week or two here and there between. But by and large, it was just one leg into the next.
And then Trinity of Terror ended and you decided to go on a new tour with Dark Divine starting this month. And how's the tour been going so far?
Well, this is something where um, Villa Vallo and I have, maybe about 6 months ago, I got to kind of speak to him a little bit about what this tour would be, and so far it's proving to be one of the most fun experiences that we've had. I think Villa's fans are so passionate about him, and he's been such a legend for so long. And then to bring in Dark Divine, who I found just online, I was looking for who were the good new bands kind of thing, and they seem to have a passionate audience. And I'd seen them say positive stuff about being fans of Black Veil in the past, which never hurts when it
Yeah.
comes to me looking for somebody for a tour. But it's been really great, and so we're really enjoying it. And now, as far as Dark Divine goes, it's a lot of fun to watch a young band that has really just started touring, and they have such a good handle on their show and so professional, and they've really impressed me. I told the singer a few days ago, a lot of what I see with young bands is that they might have great songs and they might have great stage presence, but being able to do a professional show night after night and to handle the stage, in a way that is captivating and keeps people's attention, that's the really hard thing. Because a lot of bands have screaming and breakdowns and wear makeup. Not a lot of bands can put that all together and give you a really great show every night, and they're already leaps and bounds ahead of, I think, even where we were at when I was as early into our career as they are.
Yeah, I will say I actually did see them earlier this year at the Winchester up in Cleveland, and I got a chance to talk to the band. They were very, very sweet to work with, and I thought it was so cool that you guys brought them on this tour.
Yeah, yeah, they're great, and I think they got big things ahead of them.
What would you say goes into making a Black Veil Bride set list when you guys go on tour?
Some of it comes down to time. I think a lot of times the hardcore fans will get upset because we'll be playing similar songs from tour to tour, but they have to understand, maybe we have 2 weeks in between these runs. So, we try to always throw in at least two or three newer songs or different songs or songs we haven't played before so that it's not just the same set list. I would say that this set list is the most varied um, that we've done in the US in a while. There's a lot of songs like Nobody's Hero and Torch and Lost It All, songs that either had never been played live or were played two or three times live in the last 15 years. So, this is actually one of my favorite set lists that we've had. I think the flow is really great. There's tons of older material in there. There's tons of new stuff. And then there's some stuff, like I said, that just has never been played before.
Did you say you have a most memorable song that you've played live, like either on this tour or just in general?
Uh, I think the songs for me, the slower songs, the ballady songs are always the ones that I have the most fun with live. stuff like When They Call My Name, which we used to do a lot, and now on this tour we're doing Lost It All. I always love the feeling of doing a song like that, a big ballad, big power ballad in a live setting. It's such a cool, you can hear everybody singing along, and it's just a really cool experience.
Do you guys have a song that you just refuse to play live anymore? You
Um,
just got sick of it?
well, not songs that we've gotten sick of. There's songs that we've tried to play that didn't work. And it's hard to describe like what about it doesn't work, but there's something, you know it when you hear it. And there's some songs that you try. Like there's a song on Veil called Outsider that we used to try to play.
Mhm.
Every tour we would try to play it, and for some reason the verses are too slow. There's something about it that doesn't work in a live setting. So yeah, it's more so, that Set the World on Fire is another song where for whatever reason we've had it on set lists year after year, and it's just we always end up taking it off because it just doesn't flow well live. Live is a different setting than on record.
Yeah.
And I love both of those songs. It just sometimes one song works live in a way it doesn't. I think, for instance, a song like Faithless, I think works better live than it does on the record, and that's been a staple of our show for years and years.
Mhm. What's one thing you want your fans to know about this tour?
But we're having a lot of fun. I think, sometimes artists that when they're this deep into a tour cycle, like this is the last tour for this record cycle, and then we'll be moving on to making new material. So sometimes artists get to the point where they're kind of bogged down and they're exhausted, and you're getting a subpar show, and it's nobody's fault. It's exhausting. We've been touring the Phantom Tomorrow since November or sorry, September of 2021 with really no stops. So unlike a lot of situations, we're genuinely just having a blast. And I think that this is one of the most fun set lists we've had. Um, we've been playing great. We're just really enjoying this tour so far. It's honestly breezing by. We've only got about a month left, and we're
Oh,
about halfway
wow.
through. And so yeah, it's pretty great. Now we're going to Europe with this tour. We
Oh,
have about
cool.
7 days in between. So we'll do a month in Europe with Hailstorm, and then we've got Mothica on some of those shows. So
Fantastic.
that'll be great. But yeah, as far as the US goes, come out to a show, have fun with us.
I'm actually I will be at the show on this coming Friday down in Columbus. My parents live down there. So I
Oh,
said,
great.
hey, might as well catch a
My
show.
parents will also be at that show.
Well, they that's so fun. Do they come to all your shows? Or just like the ones in
No.
Ohio?
Well, yeah, I'm from Cincinnati, so it's a pretty close drive. I think they might come to the Indianapolis show too. That's pretty close.
That's so cool. Would you say, since you guys are from Ohio, would you say the Ohio crowds get a little bit rowdier or like go a little more hard than the rest of the states, or would you say it's about the same?
It really depends. Sometimes we have incredible shows in Ohio. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the shows are not as incredible. Um, I think it just depends everywhere you go. You could play. I'll just pull out a random city. Let's say Portland, Oregon. You could play there 3 times in a 4-year period or something. And two of those shows, the audience could be actively hating you or flipping you off the whole time. And then one of those shows is incredible. So I think it's about people. I think sometimes people get so caught up in the city or the territory or whatever. And I think a tour like what we're on right now, which is theoretically like a small market tour, which is what you tend to do at the end of an album cycle.
Mhm.
Sometimes people look at those markets and go, "Oh, these shows aren't going to be as good," and that is never correct. It's really just about the people who are there and the level of enjoyment that people are having, and it's on us to give the best show possible. You could say we've had a show, say in Columbus, where we didn't sound very good, and so it's not on the audience for us to not have a great show. It's our fault. So no, but I will say the last couple shows we've had in Columbus have just been wonderful, and we've been really enjoying ourselves on this whole run.
I'm super excited to see this tour. We at this thing have actually been playing Savior 2 a lot on our rotation recently. It's been a big, big hit with our listeners. But I know you just recently dropped Temple of Love a few weeks ago, and that is also a fantastic song for our fans that have not checked it out yet. What was the thought process going into Temple of Love?
Well, I've always loved Sisters of Mercy since I was a kid, and
Hmm.
that the Sisters of Mercy greatest hits record. I remember burning it. Well, not burning it. I don't know what the terminology is. Putting it on a cassette tape because my mom's car only had a cassette tape player when I was a kid, And so listening to that record and listening to the 92 version of Temple of Love like every day on the way to school. And I always just thought it would be so cool to do a cover of it. And then we were, in talks, early talks on this tour with Villa, and I knew that he had stated previously that he was a fan of Sisters of Mercy as well. So it seemed like a perfect fit, and it kind of came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that live. It's been Savior 2 has been an absolute hit with our listeners. They're so excited. They'll be so excited when they hear this interview coming up this weekend. I did read your book when it came out a couple of years ago, and I noticed that you also went to Catholic school, and you kind of referenced that was a big influence when you started your band. Would you say that it still influences your music today, or do you think you progressed towards a different style?
Well, I mean, I don't think you can really ever take all of the Catholic guilt and mythology out of a person who was raised Catholic. It's part of our DNA. So the religious allegory is something that I've always used in our lyrics, and I think because it was so informative for me, not only in a angsty teenager sort of way, but also in a very real way, and that some of the people that I love and respect the most in my family were deeply religious, and that
Mhm.
you can see the positives in that. So I think my perspective is one that's maybe a little bit different. A lot of people that use religious imagery are using it either ironically or sort of poking fun at it. And while I do that to a certain extent, it's coming from a place of a lot more reverence because of my upbringing and because of the positive stuff that I have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. My final question here today. So I know you guys used to be really heavily influenced by Kiss, and you yourself are a really big fan of Kiss. Can
Mhm.
we expect any kind of Kiss tribute on this tour, seeing as this is Kiss's last tour coming up?
Well, we've done about 17 tours since Kiss started their last tour, so
Yeah,
who knows when that
last
would end.
tour.
Yeah. Uh, the end of the road has gone on. I was actually thinking about it. I remember my friends who do a Kiss podcast. It's called Three Sides of the Coin, and I remember I was thinking about it the other day because I saw something get posted about the Kiss end of the road tour, and I want to say it was like 4 years ago. I remember listening, like in a hotel, like I am today, like on a day off, like listening to their episode talking about how Kiss announces the end of the road tour, and I was like, God,
Mhm.
a long time ago. So who knows? I think Kiss will outlast all of us. I think I'll be 90
I would
years
agree
old,
with
and
that.
Gene and Paul will still be up on stage killing it.
Are you gonna try to make it to a show for the end of the road tour, or
I
maybe
was
catch their
hoping
next
to.
one?
Yeah, I'll be at the next one. I was hoping to see them on some of these festivals that we were playing, but unfortunately the schedules didn't align. But
Yeah, it's
it's so hard when
understandable.
you're touring this much to be able to make it out to shows. So hopefully, who knows?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. I really appreciate you taking the time on your day off here. Looking forward to seeing the show this Friday, and I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the tour. I'm OG Maddie with 88.3 The Sting, and this has been Andy Black with Black Veil Brides.
Thanks very much.